Good morning. You're waking up to the Get Busy Livin Podcast, and I'm Dr. Scott Fox, registered acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist in the north of Brisbane. And we have a wonderful guest on today, Raweena Jeraj. Thank you so much, Raweena, for joining us, and much appreciated in giving us the goal that you're going to give us today.
No worries, Dr. Scott. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Much appreciated. And you're at a super convention, is that right? A superannuation
Yes,
convention.
yes. Actually, when I said yes to you, I didn't realize, and then this came up, which is it's the self-managed super funds convention, which is one of the largest conventions for these guys in entire Australia. So they have it in different cities every year, and this year they're having it in Brisbane, and I am volunteering there. So at while I'm trying to learn different facets of finance and trying to update myself on different learnings and things. Obviously, there's only limited funds, can't go to everything, so volunteering is the best way to go, so I get to learn and do something good as well.
Cool. Much no. So thank you, thank you for uh, giving us your time, even though you're at an expo,
No,
and
that's no problems.
and yet that's great that you're giving to the community and helping them, even with
Thanks.
something as simple as superannuation. Well, it's not that
Right,
simple, is it?
well, no, it's very complicated actually,
Yes,
and
yes. There's a reason. There's a reason why it's complicated.
yeah.
So I'll kick off with the first question.
Mhm.
So tell us, Rowena, what gets you out of bed every day?
What gets me out? So I'm just letting your community know, and I guess your people who follow you know that I do suffer from, a couple of chronic illnesses, including like fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis and things. So me trying to get up in the morning is not as simple as just jumping out of bed. Unlike some other people might think, oh, I've had 8 hours of sleep. I'm refreshed. I'm just going to, hop out of bed and start my day. Unfortunately, my mornings are not that simple. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of effort. And I think for me, it's an ongoing journey to kind of go that no, I can't let this illness define who I am. And regardless of kind of how I'm feeling, obviously there's days where I'm like, nah, can't do this. But 90% of the time, I'll, you know, I'll come to my senses and I'll, slowly come out of bed. And, I'd love to, just wake up one morning and feel like, oh my God, I've got so much energy. But
Yeah,
yeah, doesn't happen. So it's an effort. It's an effort, and it's a continuous effort.
yeah,
But
that's
I mean, my motivation obviously is my own health and my well-being, my kids. Like everyone else. But it's just not as simple as just getting out of bed.
yes, that's exactly right. Was going to say, it's all about mindset. Yeah, it starts with mindset. That's what I should say. It
It
starts
starts
with
with the
mindset.
mindset. It starts with the mindset. I think it's just having that intention, kind of when I go to bed, having that intention that, yep, so tomorrow morning, yep, or in the morning when the alarm goes off, okay, it's a new day. Come on, there's a few things that I need to do. And usually I start my day with some sort of exercise. And my pure goal is just to get there. My first goal is to wake up, brush my teeth, change my clothes, and just to get to the gym. It's not to do a workout. If I
Just to get there.
happen to do a workout, it's a bonus. But my pure intention is just to be in that space. And if I've made that, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
After that, it's all easy.
Yeah, it's just creating the habit, and that's a good habit.
Yeah.
That's a good habit. That's a good habit to have. There's a lot of people are using other devices as habits. So I get it. That this is yeah, magnificent that you're turning your life around and trying to turn these chronic diseases into
Yes. I've
forgotten
always,
forgotten
yeah,
diseases.
well, yeah. I mean, not so much forgotten, but I guess what I have been trying to do very consciously is not to let the illnesses or to define who I am as a person, and not to let it overcome my desire to do things. Yes, there's some things that I can't do. I have to accept that, but um, there's other things I'm willing to try and see how far I can get. But if I don't give it a go, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. Never
Yeah.
know until you have a go. Um, so that leads me into the next question. So tell us about how you became in the position that you're in now. So what do you do now?
So at the moment, I guess I'm not sort of working full time as such. A little bit of my background, I mean, I have spoken to you, Dr. Scott, but is that I was married for over 20 years. In those 20 years, I never really worked much, even though I had qualifications. I had studied in Australia. I didn't really work sort of in a job full time where I could climb the corporate ladder, I guess, if you would say, or build upon those skills. So, what happened was within the marriage, you sort of start and then have kids and things, and one person starts to take on the nurturing role, and one person starts to kind of build a career. And in our case, as of now, my ex-husband, he was the one, he built his career. So he did a lot of work overseas, did a lot of projects where he was very busy working, sometimes 70, 80 hours a week. Someone had to be there for the kids. And time went by, like looking after the extended family, looking after the kids, and just you know, I guess doing things for everyone else except for me. So I could have taken a stand and said, no, like, I want to work, I want to build a career, but, you know, it just felt like it wasn't worth the argument at that time,
Yeah, yeah.
um, until the point where I um, I left him a couple of years back, and I guess um, it was the last straw that broke the camel's back was,
Okay.
when he announced that he had been cheating on me. So um, that was, I guess, the point where I felt that enough was
Put up
enough.
with too much. Yeah.
Yeah, and at that time I spoke to my brother, who's a businessman, and I was seeing a psychologist or a counselor at that time, and
Yeah.
you know, sort of voiced my fears about leaving the marriage. Whether it's fair on the kids to like that the mother's guilt was there. Whether I was doing the right thing by the kids by breaking the family up, by walking out. Um, but I guess the consensus was that even by going back, you're not going to be 100% happy. The tension will always be there. And the fact that he's announced this major thing, the marriage is pretty much already broken. So it's not like you're the one who's breaking it. He's already broken the bond.
Yeah.
You're just taking it to the next stage. And I think
Yeah.
they said that this is the time where you can actually set an example for your kids. You've done all of this your entire life. you know Take a stand for yourself, and yeah, do something, put yourself number one. And at that time, I did decide to put myself number one. Yeah. And that's how all of this came about. Well, not the first year. The first year I was a terrible mess. Um, I don't even know how it went by. It's all a big blur. And
Yeah.
then I again got into counseling, got into spirituality, got into a bit of healing, Reiki, started these networking things. Slowly started thinking like what I wanted to actually do with my life. And yeah, that's why I sort of came up with this happy medium where, if it makes me money, it's good. If it doesn't, I wasn't too fussed. I wanted a forum, I wanted a safe space for women to come about where they could talk about their fears. I know in the media and things, we talk about a lot of women who have been killed by their partners. I mean, that's really sad that, women die all the time. But when they've died, that's the end. What about the women who survive? There's a lot of women who survive as well, all that
Yeah.
environment. And, there's a lot of DV survivors out there who don't know how to pick up the pieces and, make a successful life.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It's, they're so scared. I understand.
exactly.
Uh, I haven't personally been involved in that before, but I have seen. I had a previous partner. She had a previous partner. Blah blah blah, and she was actually in a halfway house for domestic violence women, and yeah, they're scared. They're afraid.
It's
They're
scared.
absolutely. And it
They're
takes
scared.
it's a big jump to go from being with this person with you putting up with their rubbish, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm on my own. They're so scared from that person that had victimized them, had
It's because
abused
your
them.
confidence, you don't have the confidence,
Yeah,
and then you don't have
yeah,
anyone to tell you, to guide you, to say, no, you can actually do this. It's okay. We understand there's a lot of organizations out there to help women get out of that situation. But
yeah,
once they're out, what now? Like, what are we going to do? We
yeah,
do have to reintegrate into society. We do have to make our lives for ourselves, our kids, if we've got kids. We've got a long road ahead, a long journey ahead of ourselves.
yeah.
And we cannot stay scared our entire lives.
Yes,
So, this is a forum for women to go, you know what? I survived, and this is how I did it. This is my story. So, I'm going to be telling my story. I'm going to be putting blogs out there so women can come comment.
yeah,
I'll put my tips, you know, when I first left, I've lived in Australia pretty much all my life, but I still didn't know how to open a bank account. Simple as that. I didn't know how to
yeah,
open a bank account. And people go, you went to uni here, right? And I'm like, yep.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Just that doesn't
very
mean anything.
simple things.
But,
If
yeah,
if we tell a woman, what do you think SMF whatever means? Do they know? No.
no,
Do they know how much they've got in their superannuation?
no,
No.
they wouldn't have a clue. Yeah,
Exactly. So
but
it's those
there's some men
things.
like that too. Don't worry about that.
So
There's some men like that too.
it's open to men as well, but it's not really giving them financial advice. Obviously, there's great financial advisors out there,
Yeah, yeah,
um, but they're going to be talking their lingo, their terms, legislation, all of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm just about just simple, dummies. This is what
yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
This is what I found to be helpful. This is what I thought, can be done. However, if you want to know more information, this is where you can find it.
Yes, and this is a great topic. I'm glad you brought it up because our society doesn't talk about it much. You see it every now and then in the legacy media, but we don't talk about it enough. That for me, values were you never ever hit a woman. Yes, you argue with them. I mean, we argue with everyone,
Mm,
but you never get physical with them, mainly because they just don't have the ability to be able to fight back.
no.
So it's just like being a bully. Like, really? So what did I say? So yeah, I'm so glad that that there are women out there such as yourself that are willing to talk about this subject because
No,
it
it's
isn't
great
talked about
because
enough.
yes, I actually, as I was saying, I'm in my volunteering phase. I volunteered at the, Let's Get Loud Women's legal services who do a big fundraising every year. And I was volunteering there on Friday. And there were three women who they introduced on stage who had survived DV and had all then gone on to do either university degrees or gone on to do something. There was one lady who had circumnavigated Australia on her bike, so great
Oh,
things that they had achieved. Obviously now they're all in great relationships, they've got supporting partners, but it is not the end of the world. And it's those stories that we want to bring out. It's those kind of people who give hope to women to say it is not the end of the world. We're survivors, we can do this. And there's lots of tools out there. We're not all going to circumnavigate Australia. It's
yeah,
okay, we don't have to.
yeah,
But
yeah,
your little way, you can be the best person that you can be, like in your space. And there's every little bit counts, every little bit.
yeah. That's right. And I was going to say, so tell us about especially that first 12 months of the breakup. Um, the way you felt at the time. We've already talked about fear, but there would have been other things going on in your head.
Oh yeah, there was I guess there was fear. um there was a lot of emotions. There was self-blame,
Yes.
self-harm. Why did this happen to me kind of attitude. Because I had the children, it was trying to portray to my children and my family that I was, coping okay. I was fine. I was strong. Everything's fine. But inside, I was just, I
Yeah.
guess, breaking. Like, I didn't like, I didn't know where to put my leg first. Like how to put one foot forward before the other. It was just like I was frozen in time.
Yeah.
And there was everything was happening like whizzing around me. And I I just, yeah, I couldn't decipher or couldn't just pinpoint, okay, how do I stop this merry-go-round? Like, at what point should I stop it, get off, and
Yeah.
actually start doing something? um,
Yeah.
my head was
Yeah.
spinning, and like I just couldn't figure it out. I just didn't know, like, how to go about this thing. um, and and at one point I thought, oh, maybe he will come and apologize, maybe there's remorse. As time went on, when I didn't get those answers, there was no remorse, there was no answers, there was no closure. That was even harder because when there's no closure, you kind of think, well, I'm going to have to somehow close this myself. And how do I do it?
Mm.
Because there's no initiative from the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and that's what I mean is you have to be the bigger person. You have to be the one that has to forgive. Um, and that takes a lot of courage. That takes a
Yeah. So I
lot of
mean, I guess in terms of forgiveness, that's still a long way to go.
Yeah,
I probably haven't. It's totally not forgiven, but
that's good. But thanks for being honest, because it is hard to forgive people when people you put so much effort into your relationship, and
I mean,
you
20 years is not a small
yeah,
amount of time.
no, that's right.
Um, and
That's a big deal.
and as we say, it wasn't a very typical way everything how it unfolded and happened.
Yeah,
So forgiveness is still a bit of time, I guess. I probably still have more healing to do. Um, to
yeah,
to get to that point where I can totally say that I'm 100% healed. I have forgiven you and gotten past that.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, I don't think about that portion of it that often.
yeah,
He's still the father of my kids, so I do have to deal with him. Um, and at some point, I've got to be. Um, Initially, I was very emotional. I used to get very emotional, get tied up very emotionally. Slowly, I've started to detach.
yeah,
And now, when I actually message or talk, it's more from a detached state rather than an emotional state.
yeah,
So, there's definitely not that attachment anymore. Um, so, I've moved past that point. But 100% detachment where I go, well, whatever he does doesn't affect me, um, I think is still a bit of a ongoing journey.
yeah, yeah. And I understand. I get it. It's like you said, you would put 20 years of your life into
Yeah.
the relationship, and you get nothing but disappointment constantly, and then you get the old
I mean, there were good. I mean, of
the
course,
cat
in
in the
every
bag at the
relationship,
end.
there were good times as well. But yeah, all in all, yeah, it was
Yeah,
emotionally draining. And my heart or my brain desires, it's so much desiring to just let go of everything. I've done so many reiki sessions as well, where I would just want to you know just let go of all those emotions and fears. And but I think there's just a little tiny bit in there, something that's just keeping it, like grabbing it, and I'm like, no, I just want to let this go.
yeah,
And I think, yeah, I just have to wait for that day where, and pray for that day where it 100% just, yeah, everything just goes. Yeah, I'm just emotionally cleared.
yeah. Gotcha. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. There's a bit of feedback. I was going to say, you got children as well, so that has a big bearing. Yeah, especially I noticed with the mums that has a huge bearing. I know it does with the dads as well, but mums,
Yes.
they have to. It's more so because they have to nurture them, especially when they're younger. Um, so tell us about that. How you had to, because that's a juggling act that I don't even think
Mhm.
jugglers can handle.
No. Well, um, fortunately or unfortunately, I guess, the kids have always seen me at the forefront. As I was
Mm,
saying, the dad used to work overseas, and he was never a huge part of the extracurricular or sort of everyday type of things, because it was me who was doing the drop offs, pickups, at the school functions, at the sports days, you know, I
Yep,
was the one who was always there.
yep,
And so after this happened, I think the kids were resilient. Um, but I don't know. I think they took it better than what I did, probably. But they got. I spoke to them as much as I could, open and honestly, about what was happening, and I took advice from my counselors and things on how to talk to them, because they're teenagers. And then they understood what was happening and how it had happened, and all those things. And I think they're kind of okay with the situation. They're not. they're not severely attached to the dad as much as them to me. So I guess they spend about 2 weeks with me and then a week with him. But most of the time, the sort of mental load, I guess, for the kids, taking on the mental load where it comes to school, extracurricular, homework, studies, it's it's mum, it's me who takes it. If they need anything, if the phone screen is smashed, it's like, mum, I need my phone screen smashed. Or what were you doing there? Oh no. Everything comes back to me.
Yeah, gotcha.
So yeah.
So that's hard in itself as well to juggle that time with yourself and
Yeah.
also with
And
the,
on top of it, I've just started my diploma in paralegal studies.
have you paralegal?
Yeah.
So no wonder you want to get into superannuation.
Oh,
Because
well,
there's a lot,
yeah,
but
sort of it's there, but
lot,
knowledge is power.
yeah,
That's what I say.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
so
the
there's a lot
more
of
you know, the more you've got leg to stand on.
there's a lot of legislation around self-managed super funds.
Oh,
So
yes.
I
You
get it.
definitely need a professional to guide you through it.
Yeah,
And,
that's
and not just it's just not just someone who knows bits and pieces, but yes, you can get advice, but then to set it up and to comply with all legislation and things, like, definitely you'd go to a professional.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
But I'm doing it because I guess I just thought my kids are grown up. My daughter's finishing grade 12 this year, um,
yeah,
and my son's in grade 9. They need me less and less, and I'm like, well, what do I do? I need to do something.
yeah,
And with my LinkedIn profile and how I'm going to set it up with my website and things, I thought, well, this might be a good, like an education like this or a background like this, just gives it a bit of substance, and also, like, by working in that field, you get to meet women and other people who are looking after those women. And I think you kind of then become at the forefront where you can do more, help more. And yeah, that's what I thought, and that's my journey, and like that's the pathway I'm taking.
yeah, cool. And what was I going to say? So what are your have they found aspirations for themselves now? Your kids?
The kids, yeah, I mean, my son, he's still very much into sports, so just
Yeah,
plays any sport that he can play. They're both very good academically as well,
yep.
and my daughter, well, we've just said just get the best ATAR and then we'll think about it. But yeah, she'll see something math, science. Hopefully, she'll get there, something good.
Well, it's
Hoping,
hard.
praying.
Well, it's the same. It's the same for us, wasn't it? When we were young, we had no idea what we wanted to
I didn't
do.
know
So
where. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I finished grade 12, and didn't know how my life was going to turn out
yeah,
and the journey I would take. So, I guess it's their journey, um, and
yeah,
I've tried to give them the values and the skills. That was my job as a parent,
yeah.
and now it's their time to fly and achieve something. I'm always there if they need help,
Yes,
but I don't want to you know sort of hold their hand and show them
yeah.
everything.
Understood.
They've got to. I think it's time that we stopped helicopter parenting so much, and um, let our kids fall and learn from themselves, learn from their mistakes, let them make mistakes.
Yes, that's yeah, and it's the
Mistakes
same
are
with
good.
it's yeah, that's exactly right. That that's exactly right. This is the problem is the schools. I've mentioned this before. That the schools don't teach us to make mistakes. If we
No. Well, I remember, like, in our old house, I used to have a big whiteboard, and I had fail written on it, and underneath fail I had written first attempt in learning. So it's okay to fail. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's like at least you had the nous, the understanding that yeah, you're only learning. It's the
Yeah.
same with
I mean, of course, we want to guide the kids, and we talk to them, and they pick up on different things. But I think in everyday small things, if they didn't break things, if they didn't make mistakes, we we learn from our mistakes. So I think it's their turn. They need to learn from their mistakes as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. We don't want them to make the same mistakes, but
No,
unfortunately, from my experience, it doesn't matter. They
no,
still do
there
it
will.
anyway.
No, definitely. There will make some mistakes that we. Yeah, I remember doing that,
Yeah,
but um, I think the more we stop them, the
yeah,
more they want to
that's the
rebel.
thing.
And yeah,
Yes, that's exactly what I've learned. I've learned that the more we try to uh, help them, the more that we're hindering them. But
exactly.
that's because of what I said before is what they teach us in school is. So
Yeah,
we're so
school. Yes, and I think parents are so paranoid these days. It's like, um,
yeah,
if my what if my child didn't get first in the running race, or what if they can't swim properly? You know, it doesn't matter. They
yeah,
ran the race, didn't they?
yes,
That's all that counts.
and
Everyone can't be an Olympian. It's okay.
and this is what the reason why I brought them up is because the times have changed. There are more and more families that are breaking up now, and
Mm,
children. It's becoming more commonplace where children have to live in two separate households,
yep.
and then they have to try and negotiate school as well, and then try
Mm,
and remember what they need to do in each different household. So I can see
I mean,
how
yeah.
children find it difficult, especially emotionally, to adjust every
I
time that they're in an environment.
mm. I mean, luckily, I can say this. I mean, luckily for us, I mean, we're definitely aligned in our values in terms of that children always come first.
Yes,
Doesn't matter what our differences are. Doesn't matter, what if we don't see eye to eye on certain things. But at the end of the day, both the kids are our priority, and
yep,
I have never stopped the kids from, communicating with their dad, or communicating with his side of the family or the extended family. So, they've got the freedom to do all of that. So, it's they don't have to seek permission from me or anything like that. So, how some people hear that, oh, my ex won't let me see the kids, or those. Luckily,
yeah,
we don't have that sort of situation where we're fighting over that.
yeah,
um,
yeah,
we're kind of we're both on the mindset that yes, kids do come first, the emotional state comes first. So we've tried to do everything to make sure that the kids are stable, um, looked after, and in terms of things, making sure that they're comfortable in both places, even though they live with me, 70% of the time. It's just, yeah, making sure that they're comfortable.
yeah. That makes life a lot easier for everyone when it's amicable with their time with
Mm.
each other. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just 2 weeks, two
you'll find
weeks,
that
1 week, 2 week, 2 week, and then if in between um, there's something that we need to adjust, we'll just message and kind of adjust it that way. But now the kids have gotten into a bit of a routine where they kind of know what they're doing. Um, yes, my style of parenting is different to his style of parenting. The kids know that, so they know what to do where, I guess. Um, but yeah, everyone's going to be different. Even in a household where you've got a nuclear family, no two people can parent the same. I think, yeah, we're individuals. We're all going to have different things, you know,
Yeah, different way of
works.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's probably why you broke up in the first place. Because it's true. It was the same for me uh,
yeah,
with my son's mother. Same thing. We realized that we're just two different people.
mm,
So yeah, I get what you're saying. And so tell us more about what your plans are in the future. Uh,
yep.
with so it sounds like it's women's advocacy. That's what you're.
Yeah, women's advocacy, empowerment, personal development. Um, so at the moment, I'm developing my website. It's called Dollar Divas Academy. It's sort of 50% complete at this stage. Um, I am on LinkedIn. I've revamped my sort of LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to be, until the website is 100% up and running to go, I'll be putting blogs and, tips, tricks, maybe, little videos and things I'll be putting through my LinkedIn profile for now.
Yeah, yeah,
But once it's up and running, we'll try and, link everything together so that, you know, people can go straight onto the website, you know, have their say something, talk about other things. If they want to, make a comment on the blog, that this is what I found was good, or this thing, they'll be able to do that. Um, Maybe at this stage, I haven't thought about it. Maybe later on down the track, I had this idea of, just developing training manuals and things like that on financial literacy. We'll see how I go, because at the moment I have to finish this study first, and then. But there's a few thoughts running in my mind, but pretty much it's still at this stage. Volunteer as much as I can, learn, finish this diploma, maybe start working part-time, and then on my other part-time, still networking, meeting people like you, going to those networking sessions,
yep,
is great, because I get to learn so much from them as well and
yep.
connect. And so I need time for that, so that I can get people on board as well, to advocate, and things like that. Yeah.
So I'll get you to talk about the website at the end. And so what was I going to say? So you obviously you'll be looking for someone to help you build the website. So
Oh, I've got
any
someone. No, I do have
yeah,
someone.
oh yeah,
She's a student plus like a little designer.
yeah,
So
gotcha.
she's
Okay.
yeah, she's helping me do that. So it's about 50% done. And we're on the journey there. So I'm hoping by mid-year we'll be able to launch the website.
Yeah, right. Okay. So about June, July. Watch this space.
Hopefully,
So
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yeah, but still, my LinkedIn will still put out blogs and other things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, gotcha.
Mm.
And also I'll if you want to, you can put your website up on the three platforms that I'm streaming to now, so
Oh,
people can
great.
get
Yeah.
get access to that.
Sure.
So because there'll be people that'll be interested to find out more, because there's more and more,
Excellent. Thank you
as I
so
said,
much.
because there's more and more people that are women, especially, that are becoming victims, and
Yeah.
especially over the last 3 years, it's the numbers aren't good. So the
Yeah,
domestic
they're just
violence.
increasing. I think the numbers should be decreasing, but there seems to be
Yeah,
increasing.
well, I mean, they told everyone to stay at home and drink. True, they
Does it,
you can get it.
doesn't mean kill
Everyone
your
was
wife.
no, that's right. Well, yeah, well, this is the problem is they get drunk and then they turn into idiots. So
Yeah.
see what I'm saying, that
Yeah, I
the
think
only
there
thing,
probably needs to be more advocacy for mental health services as well, because the underlying issues probably are that they're probably it's pretty much a reflection of their inner self, right? So them taking the anger out on someone is a
Yeah, yeah,
reflection of their inner emotions, inner self.
yeah,
So it's because there's a hidden trauma there, something that they haven't spoken about, something that hasn't been healed. So I mean, if we advocated more for, and it wasn't such a shame for men to go out and seek mental health services, I don't know, maybe like
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
stop stigmatizing. If you go to a
It would
counselor,
reduce.
you're a wuss or whatever. If you've got issues, you've got issues. Everyone has issues.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, yeah, there's. Yeah, but as I said, I think
Maybe the
that
next generation, we can start at the schools now. If we started at
yes,
schools at this level,
um,
advocating mental health awareness for males, I think by the time this kind of generation who are in high school get to the workforce, and because some changes are happening, you can see men who take paternity leave, men who are more active, with hands on with the kids, and I see it with my brother as well. um, you know they're more conscious about work life balance. So if we just went another step back and started at the schools, imagine that generation that grew up, you know who are so aware of mental illnesses, and and emotionally, the emotional IQ is high.
yeah,
It will be
yeah.
fantastic.
I think yeah, I think I said it on the last podcast. Honor has been thrown out the window, and that that has to be men has to stand up and take ownership
Mm,
uh, of their honor. If they don't, then yeah, more and more women are going to be abused, and
yeah.
I know it sounds simple, but um, we just have to be true to ourselves. Everyone, I suppose that comes back to everyone, but yeah, we as men we can do a lot
Yeah,
better,
I
I
think it's
believe.
the whole society, because a lot of women, um, a lot of family members who talk after the death, they say that she'd been to the police station a number of times. But the police
Yeah,
station told her, no, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. I mean, there has to be a systematic change, maybe.
yeah. That is when you go and read about the Baker Street runners, and then you'll understand how police were actually formed. But so they weren't formed for us. They were so. But as I said, as a community, I think it's better
Mm.
if we
I think as a
try and
community, yes.
yeah. We wouldn't need police if we had a community of pleasant people.
Yes, just mutual respect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Understanding how other people are going, what they're going through, because at the end of the day, that's why I try not to. It's really hard. I try not to get
Yeah,
upset with
like
people.
judge, exactly. Like, let's not
Yeah,
judge other people. Let's not just make assumptions based on,
because
first initial encounters. Give them benefit of the doubt. Try to be
you don't know.
empathetic. You
Yeah,
don't know
that's right.
how the day's been.
Yeah, yeah,
Just, yeah,
yeah, yeah. Exactly right. Because yeah, you could be saying the wrong thing to the person that's had a crap week, and
exactly.
yeah,
And that's just
like
the
you
one
said,
thing that just takes them over.
yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back. Exactly. So that
Exactly that.
all right. So are you thinking more a foundation, or are you gonna?
At the moment, I haven't thought about a foundation, but just at the moment, my aim is just to get the website,
Yeah, yeah,
um, more followers, I guess, on LinkedIn, so that they're following my blogs and things like that.
yeah.
Some
Gotcha.
comments coming in, and things like that. But yeah, no, I haven't thought about. Maybe later on, I can think about something like that.
Yeah,
But at this stage, it's just trying to get this community going.
yeah. Right. was I going to say? Uh, so I, we've done pretty well. We're up to 45 minutes. So I was just going to say,
My superpower.
yeah, what is your superpower?
My superpower. Oh, my superpower. My superpower. I think it's lies here in your mindset and thinking. I
Yeah,
think
okay.
that's what I learned through everything that I've just been reading. Um, being like, spirituality. People say meditate, be in the moment. I mean, yes, but not everyone has the capacity to sit in silence for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't. I can't sit still and meditate for 5 minutes, let alone 20, 30 minutes. But I do listen
yeah,
to a lot of spiritual know-how, and I listen to spirituality, and I listen to affirmations, and I listen to, a lot of powerful motivational speakers talk about different things and how to change your mindset and how to change your wordings, because your words have a lot of power, and how you think has a lot of power, and how that manifests, and how that generates different things. And I think that's what I've taken on board is just change your mindset, um, change you know how you talk, reflect back, are you always talking negative?
yeah.
And I know people out there will say, but everything's shit. Yes, it is shit. There are days that are shit. There are days where you want to sit and cry, and I do, and it's okay. Give yourself permission. It is okay. There have been days that you will feel the need to cry. There is a day when you will feel the need that I need a hug. It's okay. And you want to lock yourself in the room. It's okay. And that's the biggest thing I've learned is the biggest power is you, because you're the only person that can think. You're the only person that can give yourself permission. So give yourself permission.
Yeah,
Don't feel guilty. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone's permission. If you want to do something, you have the power to do it.
yes, that's yeah, that's
You have control over your emotions. Do not let some other idiot or some shitty person who's having a bad day or a bad life or whatever, tell you something and you get upset and stressed over it, because it's nothing to do with you. It's a reflection of them.
yeah. And the other thing is it gets passed on.
Yeah,
It's
they wanted
well,
to
you pass it.
unload it. Yeah, all they wanted to do was dump it. They've dumped it,
Yeah,
and you've taken it.
yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Why do you want to take on this baggage? Don't.
No,
Just say, I'm not the porter. I'm not taking
yeah,
it.
exactly right. And
So, the best thing you can do is like be in charge of your own emotions.
yeah,
Like, you are in charge of what you want to take on and what you want to keep out. So keep out the bad stuff, take in the good stuff.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, what's the saying? You are the sum of the four people you hang with.
Mm.
Five. Sorry, the
And
sum.
then
You are the
once you,
sum.
yeah, and I know my Reiki teacher was telling me that the more you sort of get over that attachments and like nitty gritty things, your own self, you're vibrating at a higher level, a high energy, because our body is made up of energy. And once you start vibrating at the level, you will attract the type of people that you're meant to be with. The shitty people won't come into your life.
Yeah, that's right.
So what you're saying is, yeah, the more you think positive, the more you'll be hanging out with positive people.
I agree. All right. So we've sort of covered the ideal person you want to talk to is
Mm.
pretty much women are going through the same issues that you have. Um, and I'll go into the last question. So, what rules or ideas would you go by to attain life longevity, Raweena?
My rules. I would love to say have no rules, but so we have to live by some rules in
Yeah,
society. So, but I guess you can give yourself permission sometimes to have no rules as well. That's nice, makes you feel happy, but don't feel guilty about it. Um, but I think it's, for me, it's exercise, because for me, exercise gets me going. It gets the blood flow going. My mindset is in the right place. You
Yep.
know, I'm getting out of the house early morning. It just gets my day rolling. So for me, morning exercise is a big part. Um, then I guess n- nutrition on some levels. Um, Trying to eat things that are going to fuel your body and not be damaging it and things like that for longevity.
Yep.
Um, and just, I guess, just be happy. I mean, I know it's hard, it's easy, and it's easy to say, hard to do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not always happy. I'm not happy 100% of the time. I'm not flying and happy and jumping. Um, but I guess everyone just wants a simple life, don't they? Just want to lead a simple life, be happy, and just whatever your goals are. Like, if your goals are money, then yes, set those goals and chase after that. If your goals are something else, do that. Don't have like your values in life misaligned with what you're doing, because if you misalign your core values with what you're actually doing, I think that's where all that stress comes from and anxiety comes from, because your head is saying, oh, I wanted to do this, my passion was this, but I'm doing a 9 to 5 job, and I'm running here and I'm running there. Well, stop running. Like, think back, how can you readjust this to realign it with your passion? And I
That's
think, yeah, and I think when you start doing that, when you start looking after yourself, when you make sure that you're number one, you don't need other people's approval and justification, I think automatically, you sort of start living your best life.
totally agree. All right. Thank you so much, Rowena. It's
Thank
went for
you. Thank you.
52
Namaste.
minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
Namaste. Yeah. um, so thank you very much for your time. I'll send you. I'll get my VA to send you the three links that we
Fantastic.
recorded this on, so you can put your website on there, so other women can go to that website and talk to you about their experiences and also what you've been through. So much appreciated for your time. Enjoy the expo, obviously, and yeah, thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank
giving
you so
us
much for having me.
your story, because I know it's different. It is a different story, but the principle is still the same. A lot of women are going through the same thing, and
Exactly. And we can survive.
so
We can survive.
yeah, yeah. So thank you very much. You've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast. Raweena Jeraj, and I'm Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture. Thank you very much for tuning in today.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.